What is going on, North Star Nation? Welcome to the North Star Network, presented by CNS Athletics. My name's Giovanni Heater, and I'm joined today by CNS football running back number 8, Mike Washington. Mike, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. Yourself?
I'm doing good, man. Thank you. I appreciate you being on the show.
No problem.
All right, Mike. So I figure I will just kind of run down the table here. I want to first start out by asking you, how were you able to keep yourself busy and still stay in football shape as well as the football mindset during this whole quarantine pandemic?
I just learned to keep faith. Stay on top of stuff. Stay on top of things that I only can control. Keeping up with my body. When school was there, keeping up with my grades with school. Till that ended, I just started to focus more on football and my body, keeping my body in shape.
Now, Mike, I want you to take me back before your days at CNS. You were a standout at Notre Dame. So what brought you over to play for the North Stars?
My parents, they wanted to find somewhere new to live. We was living in Utica for about 15 years. Basically my whole life, and they've been living down there since they're kids too. So they just wanted somewhere new to live, so they chose Syracuse. And I personally chose CNS because of the football history, winning multiple championships, and I heard they had a great coaching staff. So I said, why not? So I just went there.
Mike, this past season was nothing short of exciting, okay? So obviously it wasn't the start that everyone expected. The expectations maybe weren't as high due to being a young squad and everything like that. And then it turned out to be something extremely special, and you were a crucial part of that. So what made that team so special?
The fact that we had nothing to lose. We started off young, built chemistry. Throughout the games, and our chemistry just grew more and more. And by the time you knew it, we were at sectionals. And I know nobody knew we'd probably make it there. Nobody knew that we would win. But I think that's what really made us a special team. We just had nothing to lose.
The word that stands out to me with this team was resiliency, right? The tough loss at home to Utica Proctor, being down late in the section semifinals against Liverpool and coming back in that ball game. So resiliency really was something that stood out to me. How was this team able to bounce back so many times and remain resilient?
It was more of us, the team, wanting to be great, wanting to keep going. We didn't want to just end in the playoffs, and we also didn't want to be made fun of in school, believe it or not. A lot of people doubted us, but we, like I said, we just kept the faith and kept playing, North Star football.
And what type of leadership role were you able to play in part of that?
I played a huge role in that, leading the kids, having them keep their heads up. Even after our McQuaid game loss, that whole off season, had everybody in the weight room. Everybody was ready and was willing to work and get to that to get back to the place where we were again in the state finals.
It seemed as if the offense really was centered around you at times. They'd hand the ball off to you every single drive, and it almost seemed like you scored every time. We're talking touchdown after touchdown, countless 40-plus yarders. So what is that feeling when the field really opens up for you and you go gash the opposing defense for a house call dagger?
It's a great feeling. Seeing open field, the only thing I could think of is running past everybody and, getting that touchdown, fans going wild. It's a great feeling. I like the atmosphere.
Talking about the atmosphere, as you just spoke about, you had an opportunity to play in the Carrier Dome this past season in an incredible atmosphere for the Section 3 title game. And, this was an incredible game. I was there. A lot of people were there, tons of CNS fans, a team that you had struggled against earlier in the season. You come back and you smack them in the face, late game touchdown. You must have had at least two 40-plus yard touchdown runs in this ball game. So what was that experience like playing in a 50,000-seat stadium in the huge matchup?
It was a crazy experience. Personally, I never played there. I got to showcase my skills in front of my hometown people from Utica, so they got to, finally see, what I was about. Um, it was a good experience. I didn't even expect that to happen. With me doing the things I didn't at home, so I don't even think I could really. I don't even think I slept that night. It was hard for me to sleep or eat. Like I couldn't do that. I was just shocked. So it was a great experience.
That's awesome, man. And talking more about atmospheres, there's also something special about Friday nights at Michael J. Bragman Stadium, whether it's homecoming, the Star Wars rivalry game, etc. So when the football team is hot, the stands seem to be full. Can you speak about that atmosphere from your position standing on the field?
I remember my very first game at CNS. We were playing against Liverpool, and I just remember walking out there. I got chills. I looked at the crowd, and it was like there was a lot of people. That was my first time, seeing that many people at one game. So I was just like, it seemed like everybody else was used to it. So I'm just sitting there like, yo, that's a lot of people. But I just had to. I was nervous, and then the bubble guts went away after the first play. But it was just different for me. But it was a good experience. Atmosphere was crazy atmosphere.
That's awesome to hear, Mike. Now, I want to talk a little bit about your recruiting here. So we'll start out by, can you just walk me through your recruiting process, every little detail from beginning to end, what schools were involved, just some people that you talked to, what the visits were like early on in the process when you did get to take visits, and what that experience has been like for you.
So after the McQuaid game, probably about 2 or 3 weeks later, um, Villanova, they were reaching out to Coach Klein. Who else? Colorado State, that was my first offer. Coach Klein, he called me up and said that Colorado wanted to speak to me, gave me the coach's number, talked to them, and that was my very first offer. Then after that, it was UMass, then Villanova, and then just started to pick up throughout those months. But I only got to visit Buffalo and Villanova. Those are my only two schools I had to really visit. No, actually, that I visited. Out of all 17 schools, only visited two, Villanova and Buffalo. Um, yeah, but after the UMass offer, things started to really pick up, and the offer started to really kick in.
Now, was recruiting for you, was it something that was exciting and a lot of fun, or some people actually struggle with it and they find it stressful? So how did you feel about it?
It was a little bit of both. I'm not gonna lie. After my first offer, when the offers really started coming, um, I felt very blessed and thankful. Only because when I was young, that it's been my dream, to play college football. It's like my dream came true once I got those offers. And then it was stressful because 10 plus coaches will hit my phone every day, and it was hard for me, to get in workouts, to eat, because I had like meetings like every day, so it was pretty stressful.
Now, did the pandemic make it something that was difficult? Obviously, one of the most unique situations ever, something that'll go down in the history book. College football recruiting has never been at this trouble, really. People can't go on visits. Coaches can't come and visit you. Coaches can't come see you play at your games. They can't see you work out. There's a lot that plays into that. So how were you able to deal with it, and how was it different?
It was very different. I couldn't go to any camps. I basically had to do everything through a screen. I had to record myself working out, record myself, doing the 40-yard dash. Anything that you would do at a camp, I had to record myself doing. So that was different. Didn't really expect that to happen. But yeah, that was something different. If we didn't have a pandemic, um, I probably would have a lot more exposure than what I do now, I would say.
Now, you mentioned the fact that you didn't have an opportunity to go out to Colorado State and visit that campus and UMass and some of these other schools on your list, but you did get the opportunity to go visit Buffalo and Villanova. Did the pandemic make it a little more difficult for you to narrow down your list and really decide where you wanted to go just because you couldn't go visit these places?
Yeah, it did. I'm not gonna lie, it did. But after visiting Villanova and Buffalo, I thought Buffalo was the best place because 2 hours away. They have a great coaching staff. Great running backs coach. I think they said two running backs rushed over 1,000 yards in one season. So that speaks for itself. So I just knew that was the right place, especially my parents. They were down with it also. So I just knew that was a no-brainer.
You answered my question for me. I was going to ask you, why Buffalo? What was their big sell to you?
That it was the two running backs rushing over 1,000 yards, crazy facilities, the fueling station that was pretty good too, coaching staff, great coaching staff. You could tell they have a bright future with their program also.
Playing in the MAC conference, it really doesn't get better than that. I can't wait to see you out there on the field and on TV. Mike, what kind of running back are they getting over there at Buffalo? Would you classify yourself as more of an elusive back, a power back, kind of somebody that can do a little bit of both? You're at a unique position. You're 6'2", 215, listed on 247 Sports. That's really big for a running back, especially height-wise. So where would you classify yourself as far as that goes?
I'll say a little bit of both. I'm pretty slippery, but at the same time, if it comes to it, I could, I would, run you over or whatever. I could seem like a power back. I could seem like a elusive back. So I'll say I'm both, a little bit of both.
Awesome, Mike. Now, talking about everything that's going on right now, right? Question marks as to if the season's going to happen. Good news the other day, fall sports are happening for everything but contact. A little disappointing for football, but it still gives that bit of hope as far as you guys being able to practice and a possible later start date. So how excited are you to get back on the field with your teammates and see if you can get something going for this 2020 campaign?
I'm really excited. Steps are being taken. We're in a better position now where we can actually practice. Before we weren't able to practice, so it's baby steps right now. The guys are hyped that we get to practice. We're just keeping the faith. Pretty much it. If they were to say that we have a game next week, we would be ready because we want to play. We've been thinking about our first game since I lost to McQuaid last year, so we'd definitely be ready.
So you're saying that personally you feel safe and you're ready. If they called you today and said you have a game tomorrow, you're ready to put on the shoulder pads and go hit someone?
For sure.
All right, Mike. So I have to ask you this as well. What is your end goal for this season, yourself personally, as well as the entire team?
For the entire team, it was to take states, but now that that's out of the picture, is getting another Section 3 championship, and going undefeated.
How has the ending to last season, you obviously mentioned the loss to McQuaid. How has that fueled you these past 9+ months since you've been on the field to play some football?
That's all I could really think about, losing to them, the last seconds. Um, Probably I remember almost every touchdown they scored, how it felt, leaving the stadium, um, with them cheering and going on to the dome and, us having to, sit out and watch them play. It was a bad experience. But through the off season, I just choose that to fuel me, and get to where I am, today.
That's good to hear, Mike. Now, before we wrap things up, I'll hit you with a little bit of a speed round here. So just some quick questions, some goofy ones for you to answer, something that the kids and some of the parents might like to hear. So first off, what's your go-to pregame jam listening to in the locker room?
I listen to a lot of music. Actually, I would just listen to the latest music that come out. It wasn't really a specific song. Wait, actually, I think it was Eminem Till I Collapse.
Okay.
I believe it was that song, or Lose Yourself, one of them.
Yeah. I always listen to Lose Yourself before a lacrosse game. That's a good one. All right, Mike, what's your go-to pregame meal?
Chicken and rice.
Chicken and rice. All right. You got to get the protein, get a little bit of the carbs, though, to give you that energy. I like it. All right, Mike, do you have any superstitions or pregame rituals that you do?
Besides stretching, no, not really. Not
All right,
really.
keeping it classic. Perfect. Mike, this is actually a question I had for you, something I was interested in. Your favorite uniform combo. I mean, we're kind of blessed to have some pretty awesome uniforms. Obviously, Nike, they have the neon green, the black, the blue, the white, all the different combinations. Not a lot of high schools have that luxury, the different helmet combinations. So what would you say your favorite uni is?
Definitely the all black, blackout. Definitely the all black. We haven't tried blue, green, blue, but I picture it in my head, and I know that would look nice. Hopefully, we get to do that this year. I'll say something to the coach about it because I've been thinking about the blue, green, blue.
Yeah, that would be a nice combo. I haven't thought about that one as well. All right, Mike, who's the funniest guy on the football team?
Um, I'll say my man Deuce. Deuce. I'll say Deuce.
Was there anybody for you, whether it was college football, whether it was the NFL, that you really tried to model your game after and watched every Sunday or Saturday?
Tavon Austin. He was quick. Came out of West Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
So watch him um all the time. I still watch him to this day. Watch the same highlights. He's just a quick dude, elusive, speed demon. Um, I just love watching his highlights.
That's awesome, Mike. And, a question for you, too. So are you 100% playing running back at Buffalo, or is there talk? I know you've played receiver before and a little bit of defense as well.
Yes, yeah. So they're putting me specifically at running back.
That's awesome. All right, Mike, last question for you before the big one. And this one is a goofy one. It's to get some laughs. You probably don't even hear it because you're on the field, but every time you run down the field and score a touchdown, we play the train horn. And whether I'm calling the game on the loudspeaker or Daryl's calling the game on the loudspeaker, we all have our own little touch. So whose do you prefer if you hear it down on the field?
I don't. It doesn't really matter. I don't really hear him at all. I just hear like a lot of yelling and screaming. Everybody getting hype. I don't really hear the train sound or whatever. I don't
Fair
even hear.
enough. Fair enough, Mike. And last but not least, what does CNS mean to you? You've spent a year here. You have 1 year left, and you've really grown yourself into a big football prospect. You've brought a lot of success to this team. You're a key piece to this team, and you're a dominant force in the section and one of the best players out there. So what does CNS mean to you?
CNS means a lot. I don't think if I would to go to a different school, I don't think I would have the same success that I had here at a different school. The coaching staff here, when I first came to the school, they're very welcoming. The players are very welcoming. Same thing with the fans. Um, Especially Pete Moore. I don't know if you know him.
Oh, I love
Um,
Pete.
yeah, he's a great mentor. He's been my mentor since the day I came out there. Um, so yeah, seeing that definitely means a lot to me.
That's awesome, Mike. Man, I really hope you guys get on the field. I can't wait to get in the booth and talk a ton of CNS football. Last year was an incredible ride, what you guys were able to accomplish, going from almost zero to hero. It was extremely exciting week in and week out, and everybody was on the edge of their seat. So I really hope for your sake that you take the field this year. I'm wishing you the best of luck this season, and especially in the future, we'll be watching you on TV at the University of Buffalo in a Blue Bulls jersey. So thank you so much for joining me today, Mike.
No problem.
All right, for Giovanni Heater and Mike Washington, let's go North Stars.